Hotep, Hotep, peace, konnichiwa, muy bien, and to those I left out, don't crucify me, not yet anyway. Um, one thing I want to talk about is Dane Calloway and the FBA. When it comes down to Dane Calloway, I think that the situation in regards to saying that Harriet Tubman didn't exist, I think that is an inaccurate statement. But in regards to much of the information that he is promoting and he's giving, I think he is very accurate in a lot of his information. Okay. So I want to say that. And, um, sometimes in our journeys, we don't always get everything correct, you know. So, maybe, that was an inaccurate statement, but that doesn't make it, we're not going to make it seem like everything that he has contributed and he stated is inaccurate. So you got to give him his credit for his contribution, just like you want credit for your contribution as well. So we have to share the credit equally. Everybody is supposed to, if we're talking about Mayat and we're talking about our culture, and we have to be fair. So he may have been inaccurate or misunderstood when it came down to the situation of Harriet Tubman, but he's been accurate on a whole lot of other things. So we got to give credit. Now, as far as the FBA, I'm not really familiar with the organization, but I do understand their push, and I do understand the concept of trying to obtain reparations. Um, but what I want to say in regards to Dane Calloway is that what we're going to have to begin to understand is we always make it seem like it's you know when we talk about Black History Month and the capitalism and um the essence of um sales, and how on those holidays or during that time, everybody runs out to the store and they buy into whatever that holiday is, whether it's Black History Month. It's not just Black History Month, it's Christmas, it's whatever holidays, that they have implemented. Now, what another thing I wanted to say is that it's not just them that are benefiting and taking advantage of your communities. We got to be honest with ourselves here. Everybody is getting a cut. Everybody getting a slice. So when you talk about they are benefiting on in regards to Black History Month and certain holidays, it's not just them that are benefiting. It's people that look just like you as well. And for these things that have been going on for a long period of time, there have been people like you that look just like you. It may not look like you, people of variety ethnic backgrounds who agree and are benefiting. So, all I'm saying to you is that when it comes down to this idea of capitalism, it has gone is extended beyond color. There was one point in time where we're talking about um, an essence of white supremacy, but you got people from various ethnic groups and various ethnic backgrounds that are capitalizing from your communities. So you're not being realistic with yourself. And, to thine own self, one must be true. So we have to be honest about certain things um, when it comes down to how we perceive, reality. And I think that we're not being honest about some of these things and how, okay, it's not just them. You have to wake up at some point, you know. When we look at our communities, it's not just people, them coming in and causing crime in our communities. We contribute as well. So we're going to have to, at some point, be honest with ourselves in order for us to get a real solution to some of the problems that we're facing. And as I stated, um, when it comes down to the FBA, I'm not really familiar with the organization, but as I stated, one thing about reparations is that now I was asked if I did an ancestry test. Now, everybody does not have to do an ancestry test to figure out what tribe they come from. So I'm wondering if, what that is all about, if that is a sham, because there were people who were figuring out what tribes they came from before an ancestry test ever popped up on the map. So, we got to be honest with ourselves here. I mean, when it comes down to reparations, we have to your heritage and your lineage. And I mean, I don't know why, that seems to be kind of like an issue. That should be some of the simplest because, Africa had a census, Europe had a census, just like America has a census. It's not something that just started, you know, in recent times. It's something, records keeping has been, a part of ancient society as well. When we talk about burning scrolls, and I think they were just recently burning scrolls in the Sudan. You know, when we talk about the burning of the scrolls and burning, and trying to erase history, and that's another thing I wanted to talk about when we talk about some of these organizations um, and erasing history. Um, we when you say they kept your history away from you, wouldn't allow you to read and write and learn and understand and hid history. When you attempt to erase history, I think it's like we're doing some of the same things that we don't want done to us. So I'm not okay with going around and removing statues. I'm just not okay with it. That's a part of history. If it was okay, how would we know about some of the history of our ancient ancestors had they done the same things? Had they removed all the statues and erased all of the history? What would we know? So I'm not okay with any organization. Let me be clear. Any form of organization, any um, establishment that is going around and attempting to erase history. This is going that's the record. That's for the next generation to learn. And when you go back and look at the records of of some of the past, you begin to learn, you can gain an understanding and begin to figure out resolutions and solutions to some of your current issues possible. So I do not that that is a major turnoff. I'm going to be clear when there are those who want to omit or erase history. I think that history is very, very important. Um, so erasing statues and trying to have statues removed because you don't like them, that means that you don't like the truth. If you're trying to erase history or a statue of a person who actually existed, that means that you don't like the truth. And that has nothing to do with history. That has to do with possible mental illness. So I want to be clear on that. But as I stated, I think that Dane Calloway is accurate on much of the information um, that he's been promoting in the history. I also think that, maybe he was inaccurate in regards to Harriet Tubman, but most of the information that he promotes, I think that it's pretty substantial. So, and another thing I wanted to say also about the situation with Will and Jada, I think people need to begin to mind their business. This is becoming ridiculous. It really is. You know, I mean, it's like you it, they're already going through enough as it is with their relationship, and you got everybody making a YouTube video trying to tear their family apart. Oh, the daughter shouldn't have did this. Oh, the daughter shouldn't did that. Oh, how you see how she did. Come on. It's so much other things that we can focus on out here than trying to destroy somebody's family, you know? It really is sad. I think we need to, you know, we got to learn to heal and forgive and try to move on. So, um, as I stated, the situation it's already been, you know, uh, publicized enough. You know, come on, it's just sad. It's not making it any better. Let's say that. All of the videos, it's already a problem. It already happened. Making a million videos and destroying it's making it even worse. So I feel really sorry for their family. And what it shows is that not just with this family, but how social media can it can it can destroy a person. So if I was them, I would just close all the doors, and deal with the therapist. You know, don't worry about what other people have to say about your relationship. And Chris Rock, he definitely deserves apology, and we need to try to begin to move forward. He definitely deserves an apology. Um, and we need to take and learn from this and see how we can, how disconnected we can be, how we can hurt each other. Okay? Because everybody, all three parties involved, Chris Rock, Jada, Will, the children now, they're seeing it. Everybody's hurt, you know. So it really is sad, and I think we need to try to move on. Let the situation heal as best it can. Oh my goodness! But when it comes down to um, Dane Calloway, I think that Dane Calloway is very accurate in a lot of his information. Um, I don't think that the situation about Harriet Tubman, the subject about Harriet Tubman was accurate, but you move on from that. It's no need to try to make it seem like some of all of, the things that he's contributed wasn't accurate. There was things that he said previously that were very accurate, and he deserves credit for whatever he's, brought forth to the table. Um, so, and as I stated, when it comes down to, um, you know, the essence of nationality and how people classify and define themselves, I really, really am kind of getting tired of the debate about that. You can call yourself whatever you want. To me, it doesn't really matter to me. You know, it's whoever you want to be. You know, um, but the constant bickering about how we should classify ourselves, you know as a unified on a collective scale, um, that's something that we all have to agree on, you know? No different than what's the definition of African American? So it's like every so often we're looking for first it was black, then it first it was Negro, then it was black, then it was African American, and now we're not happy with African American, so we're trying to, and I just don't know what else to say. It's like we're not happy with ourselves. Everybody else is cool with how they're being classified, and if they're not cool with it, they'll being, maybe they have the ability to be or pretend to be who, whatever they want to be. But I think that it's a real futile argument. I think that we need to, that should be one of the least of our focuses right now is arguing over nationality and how we classify ourselves. And the more focus should be trying to ensure that we have healthy communities and ensuring that there's not violence being perpetuated in our communities, and trying to gain a sense of self-control in our environments and in our households and in our communities, you know, self-governing, healing, whatever healing we can do amongst ourselves. I think that it can be beneficial. So that's, what I think the focus really should be is trying to figure out. I think he was talking about Black Lives Matter. And, when it comes down to organizations like Black Lives Matter, I think that if they have, generated in funds to help the Black community, um, they should begin to put it in, you know, into the communities, or, work on trying to, gain some form of economic growth, um, and figuring out what the communities need the most. That's what, if you have organizations who have generated funds for the communities need to have a list or an agenda of what they need the most. And they need to go to the organization and say, okay, we know that you have generated this amount or whatever, and we like for you to um, and, think about or build this school or whatever it is. What do you need in your communities? So that's what you have to begin to do now. You have to figure out what it is that you need in your communities. So I think that's what's most important, you know, when it comes down to taking steps and trying to move forward in a productive and a positive direction. Um, as I stated, um, we have a lot of people who have suffered from, you got a lot of serious dating issues in your communities that needs to be addressed. There are things that can be discussed other than tearing Will and Jada Smith apart and Chris Rock and being all up in that. You know, um, there are a lot of things that we can be discussing. Um, about trying to help build healthier and better communities, you know. So, with that being said, Hotep,